Chelsea take on Manchester City on Saturday, the 20th of April, in the FA Cup semi-final. This will be Chelsea's biggest game of the season, other than maybe the Carabao Cup final, you could argue is obviously bigger. But the FA Cup is very prestigious, and would be a massive chance for this Chelsea squad to reach the final and lift the trophy. So, in today's video, we're going to be speaking to a Manchester City content creator, getting his thoughts on the game, what he thinks might happen, the Manchester City lineup that we could see due to all the injuries, or the not really injuries as such, more so just after playing 120 minutes against Real Madrid. What could we see? Who could we see rested? Haaland apparently picking up a little bit of a knock. So we're going to speak about all of that. We're going to speak about the Chelsea team. And then at the end of the video, I will put on screen both of the teams. The Chelsea team I think will start, and the Manchester City team I think will start. And I'll give you a little bit of a tactical breakdown on what I think could happen in the game. Okay, welcome to today's video. I'm delighted to welcome to the channel Manchester City creator and supporter LB. LB, how are you doing today, and what do you think is going to happen? How are you feeling about the game tomorrow, first of all?
Yeah, man, all good. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, man, listen, excited for it. We've just been dumped out of the Champions League, so we need something to pick us up. You know what I mean? Our spirits are low, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. It's been 2 draws in it last time we played each other in the Premier League, so one of us has got to come out on top this time. We've just played 120 minutes as well of football, so it'll be interesting to see. I know we're going to speak about it. The team that Pep puts out, how tired the lads are. Like, are we going to play with our intensity and all that kind of stuff? So, yeah, it should be an interesting match, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. And as you said, the 120 minutes, we'll see how big of a factor that plays, because I think that could be very pivotal. I've watched your stream this morning speaking about it as well. So I think you think there's going to be a lot of rotation as well, similar to me. I think there probably will be. In the last 2 semi-finals that I looked at, so last year's and the year before, against Liverpool and Sheffield United last year, the amount of rotation there were in those teams. There was no Rodri, no De Bruyne. There was no Diaz in either of those games. Some of those games didn't have. I think one of them didn't have Haaland last year in the Sheffield game. So I think there's been a lot of. I think Pep's more than willing to rotate in those games if the players are tired. And I think now, would you say that you'd put more emphasis on the Premier League right now to do that four-peat rather than trying to compete in both? If you had to prioritise one, would it have been the Prem?
Yeah, if you have to prioritise one, it has to be the Premier League, obviously. But you know, I'd like for us to sort of go for both of them, man. You know what I mean? Because that'd be insane to win a double, and that'd be our 4 trophies this season, because we've already won the Club World Cup and UEFA Super Cup. So 4 would be nice. But listen, there is going to have to be some rotation. We've actually got a terrible record when it gets to this stage. We've been knocked out the semi-finals. 4 times, I think, under Pep Guardiola, because of the Champions League and the need to rotate. You know what I mean? This Champions League takes a lot out of you. And yeah, you beat us a few years ago, I think, actually, at this stage. So yeah, I don't know what to expect, man. I don't know what to expect from the team. Pep could go crazy and do a madness. But yeah, I really want to win it. You know what I mean? We've not. It sounds bad, but like, I wanted to win the FA Cup more, because like when I grew up like watching football as a kid, like FA Cup was like massive. So
Yeah, prestige.
yeah, exactly. We've won it 3 times, I think, since the takeover. So, you know, considering it's a domestic cup and all the success we've had with the Premier League, like you'd probably be quite surprised only here we've won it 3 times. Like, but so I want to win it more. I love the FA Cup, and hopefully we can beat you guys tomorrow, man.
Yeah, well, I hope not, but we'll get into my Chelsea team now. I'm going to quickly run you through my Chelsea team, see what you think, and then we'll speak about a certain individual that has made the switch from Manchester City to Chelsea this season. So I've gone with Petrovic in goal, even though Sanchez could play because he's the cup goalkeeper. I've gone for a back 4 of Cucurella, Thiago Silva, Axel Disasi coming in for Chalobah, mainly because I think Disasi will be needed to physically deal with Haaland if Haaland plays. So we'll talk about that when we go over the City team. Gusto at right back. I've gone for a midfield 3 of Enzo Fernandez at the base, because he should be back and ready to play.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he fit? I got told he was not fit. Is he fit then? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he is. He should be fit to play. He was out the other day for the game against Everton, but he's supposedly back. Apparently, he's been taking injections for the since basically December, before every game to help with the pain. So apparently, he's going to play this game and then reassess. So maybe if we lose this game and we go out of the FA Cup, possibly he has surgery, but we're yet to know. But I think they are going to put him in for this game because it's so important to us.
Mm.
Such a good chance for us to actually, even for us, it's quite a big chance for us to get into Europe, really. And like, if seeing as like we're quite a way off in the league, it's still possible in the league with the games in hand, but it'll be nice to secure it through the cup. And obviously, a cup win would just be nice, just to lift morale around the club at the minute when it's been so poor.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, Enzo Fernandez, Gallagher, and Casado is the midfield three I've gone. I think Gallagher and Casado are going to be really important in the middle to just like in terms of that 120 minutes that Man City have just come off the back of. I think having those legs in midfield around Fernandez and having those extra bodies in there could really turn the game in our favour at certain points, especially if we can stay in it longer to keep the game going deep into the game. And actually, if we can make it go to extra time, even then, like that is just going to start getting wearier and wearier for the Man City players that have played those games or played that game against Real Madrid. So we'll see how that goes. I've gone for Mudryk on the left. Sterling could easily play again. He's been ill. Whether he comes back in, he's been okay when he's played against City this season. I think he's kind
Mm-hmm.
of relished it.
Mm-hmm.
He played well against Kyle Walker. Again, I don't know if Walker's going to play. I would say no, but again, we'll speak about that when we get to the City team. I've gone Jackson up front, and I've gone for the main man on the right, Cole Palmer, which is where I'm going to ask you for your opinion on Cole Palmer and the whole switch over to Chelsea. What you think of him? How do you think he's doing? And obviously, I think it's too broad of a question to say, is it a regret? Because I do think that a lot of City fans, like in hindsight, of course, he's doing brilliantly, but you don't know whether he'd have had that platform at Man City to become this player so quickly. So I'll ask you for your opinion on that.
Yeah, listen, I love Cole Palmer. I've seen this guy develop through the academy. I remember watching him when he come on in an FA Youth Cup game. Must have been 5 years ago, and he walked on the pitch. Yeah, scrawny as anything. Yeah, he didn't have any sort of meat, any meat on his body. Man, he was so skinny. And I thought this guy's never gonna fucking make it. No, man, no chance. Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna make it in England. He needs to bulk up a bit. And anyway, come on that day. He played all right, nothing special. And then as the years went by, you're just watching him play in the academy, and you think this guy is absolutely clear of everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. Him and James McAtee, who was another fantastic footballer who really he made the wrong move. He went to Sheffield United, and that's hindered him, I think.
Yeah.
They were just absolutely incredible, both of them. And actually, James McAtee, we could have considered, some people consider him better than Cole Palmer, but he made the wrong move. Yeah, when the bid come in the summer, I didn't want to sell him. I said I didn't want to sell him. I thought it was a poor decision to sell. I understand it from a business point of view, but ultimately, I don't support a bank. Yeah, I support a football club, so I don't care how much we sold him for. I don't get a dividend out of this. This is what too many fans these days are bothered about, how much people sell players for and how much you buy. At the end of the day, yeah, I support the club, so I didn't think it was the correct decision to sell him. I think he got spooked by the signing of Doku, because he was promised that once Mahrez left, he would be the guy. Mahrez left, and then we signed Doku. So I think, and obviously Doku at the time was started Ren East on the right hand side. Now, as it turns out, Cole Palmer would have played a lot of football this year for City because Doku's played on the left. But obviously Palmer wouldn't have known that, and that's I think why ultimately he made the decision to leave. 40 million for the club obviously is good money, but there's absolutely no surprise to me that he's torn it up. No surprise.
Yeah.
I knew the guy was a baller. Knew it for years. The guy's an absolute top talent. Shame that he's gone to you. I think there's also an element of he wouldn't have done as good at City this year as he's done at Chelsea. You know, Chelsea, he's got more of a free role. You know what I mean? He's in a, it's no due respect. He's in a team of average players, in my opinion. So he's standing out he's standing out. At City, he wouldn't have stood out as much. He wouldn't have played as much. He would have been not as got as much of a free role. He wouldn't have had the penalties that he's had this year. So, he wouldn't have done as good as at City as he done this year at Chelsea. That's obvious. But yeah, I mean, he smashed it. It's a great move for him. He's definitely going to be in the England squad for the Euros. It'd be madness if he's not. And yeah, it also rattles Arsenal fans as well, because now you got the whole Palmer v Saka debates, which is funny. So yeah, man, good signing. I'm happy. I'm happy for the kid, me. I'm happy for the kid. You know what I mean? He's come through he's not a City fan, he's a United fan, but he come through the City Academy. I've watched him develop, and I was on the right side of history on this one, because a lot of City fans weren't asked and said, yeah, we should sell him, don't like him, don't. A lot of City fans didn't rate him, but I knew he was a player, man. So I got that one right anyway.
Yeah, I think he's a top player, and like I say, I think I agree with what you say in the terms of I think especially in the attacking areas, I think he relishes having that freedom to almost go and be the guy. Like Pochettino even come out at one point and said that the idea is just to get him the ball in tough situations and see if he can find a solution because he is just that good of a player. So I think whether he's in the 10 or on the right, I think he's just our main man in attack, especially to just get on the ball, make something happen. I think he relishes having that freedom and that sort of want to be the guy who can just
Mm.
unlock a team. And obviously we've seen that with hat tricks this season. We've seen it. He's confident from the spot, 9 from 9. Just I think in terms of output for us, he's just been so good, and we really haven't had an output machine like this in years in attack. Like even because you even go back to Hazard. Obviously, I'm not comparing the two. Hazard, like unbelievable footballer, like probably our best ever player in terms of actual ability. But even he wouldn't hit the numbers of like Palmer. Whereas, so having in terms of an output machine, that's not really what Hazard was, but Palmer
Did
is.
Hazard take pens though for you?
He did, yeah. He was really good at
Oh,
pens
did
as
he?
well.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
He was good at them. But the thing is with Palmer is it just always feels like if he has like a subpar game, he comes up with a goal or an assist. His output is
Mm.
just always seems to come clear for us. And I think he's really relishing the fact that he can be that guy and he wants to be the guy who always makes the decisive play essentially to win us a game, get us back in a game. And yeah, but obviously he's been a great sign. The other thing I wanted to speak about in terms of the Chelsea team, and it will regard Doku, who I'm going to mention, but we'll get onto that after when we speak about the City team. On the right hand side, I've got Gusto and Cole Palmer in this situation. So Palmer not in the 10 today or tomorrow. I've got him on the right. When we've played you this season a few times, Ake, I think, was at left back both times. And Palmer has managed to drag Ake inside quite a lot. And that obviously gives the room for someone like Gusto to overlap. So would you say, if you was to highlight a part of the team or of Chelsea that could hurt you, obviously Cole Palmer being the main man, but would you say that right hand side of Palmer being able to drag Ake inside and then giving Gusto that license to sort of overlap, would that be the right hand side that sort of worries you most?
Well, it has to be in it. You know what I mean? I mean, Palmer and Gusto versus what Mudryk and what Cucurella or
Yeah,
Gallagher
yeah.
pushing up on that left. I mean, it's night and day for me. So yeah, it's Palmer and Gusto is probably your biggest threat. But I don't know, man. I feel like Ake didn't play the game at the bridge. I thought it was I think it was Gavadio because I'm pretty sure Gavadio made a mistake at the bridge for one of the goals.
Yeah.
So
Was that the 4-4?
yeah, the 4-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've got it here. It was 4-4. City's back four in that game was where was it? It was yeah, it was Walker, Gavadio, Diaz, and and a Kanji as well. Yeah, Gavadio played left back that day, not Ake. Ake wasn't
Yeah.
fit. So yeah, Ake comes back in for this game. What a player he is, by the way.
Yeah. Class.
Fant- yeah, unbelievable. You guys just meant to sign him as well, weren't you? And then you went and who did you sign instead?
He's from Chelsea
Yeah,
originally back in the
yeah, I know
day.
he was. I know. I
Yeah.
remember him playing. I remember him playing on you played left back, didn't you? And then he left. But yeah, you was going to sign him, and then you signed someone else. Who did you sign?
Was that when we got Rudiger? Or I
Nah,
don't.
it was a guy from Napoli, I think. It was a guy
Oh,
from
what Koulibaly?
Koulibaly. I think you signed
Yeah.
Koulibaly over Ake. I tell you what, you made a mistake there.
Yeah, because
Um,
there was times when because it wasn't there was also a point where we were going to try and get him back from you. I'm pretty sure, like since
yeah,
you'd signed him, like we was even
yeah.
going to go in extra, but we had like the buyback clause on him when he was at Bournemouth as well. I think there was a point where we could have
Mm.
matched any bid for him, but yeah, I mean, you could definitely call that a mistake because he'd be brilliant for us right now. He'd be perfect in that sort of left back, left centre back role. He's
He's
pretty
just a
much doing what
mint
he's doing for
player. He's
you.
just so good. This guy's locked up like some of the best wingers in world football. Like it's unbelievable. So yeah, mint. Yeah, your right hand side is probably your most dangerous area, to be honest with you. I look at that right hand side. If Rico Lewis plays, you know, it depends if who's got cover there. If Akanji's out on that right hand side, I don't worry too much. Yeah, that right hand side is probably where it's at, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the way I look at it is more so with Palmer. I think, especially what he did at the Etihad in that was it 1-1. I think.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, 1-1.
Ake dragged him in. Palmer dragged Ake inside, and then I can't think who played left wing that day, but Gusto was just able to. Had freedom in that on that right hand side beyond Ake when Ake followed Palmer into the middle. So that's what
Mm.
I'd say is probably going to be our biggest threat is having Gusto overlap and whether, depending if it's Grealish or Bob or whoever plays on the left, whether they're going to track Gusto and how well they can deal with him. So it's going to be, and then on the other hand, if you win the ball back, can Gusto get back and defend 1v1 against your left winger? So if that is Grealish or Bob, so I think that could be a very decisive like 1v1, 2v2 battle on that left hand or right hand side for Chelsea. But enough about the Chelsea lineup. How would you set this team up back to front tomorrow? More so, I guess, like thinking about rest and things. Like, obviously, if there's a few players that you think should be rested, like you can go into a bit of detail on who. But yeah, how do you think it could look tomorrow?
Well, it's a difficult one because I don't know in terms of I don't know how the players have recovered since the Real Madrid game. I don't know if Pep Guardiola's gonna gonna rest play how many players he's gonna rest. I don't really know what's gonna happen there. I know that Ortega will play in goal, and he's a fantastic goalkeeper, so I ain't got any problems with that. Kyle Walker's a bit of a weird one because I think he was risked for Real Madrid. So are you going to throw him back in for this game? I would probably say no. So I would go Rico Lewis at right back. I would play a Kanji right-sided centre back, John Stones left-sided centre back, and Nathan Ake left back. So then you're resting Walker, you're resting Gavardio, and you're resting Diaz. So three players there rested. In midfield, I'm really torn on whether or not to. I'm really torn on whether or not to rest Rodri
I
because
think he's the big
he's
one.
yeah, he's the big one. He's our second most played player this season. He's played a ridiculous amount of games and minutes over the last couple of years for club and country. I would say, I don't know, man. I don't know. I probably would play him. I
I've
probably
got him
would.
in my team. If I was trying to predict what Pep will do tomorrow, I think he'd be in the team. But I just think if you're going to rest, especially if you're going to rest some players like Walker, if you are going to rest Diaz, that sort of, I think you need somebody to sort of linchpin the midfield like Rodri.
Yeah, I probably would play him and just risk him, give him 70 minutes or something. Next to him, I would probably go. I'd probably go Kovacic, man, which means like again, it's another game that Nunes doesn't play. I would go on the left hand side. I would go Oscar Bob. On the right hand side, I would go Jeremy Doku. I would play Kevin De Bruyne in the sort of attacking midfielder role, and I would play Erling Haaland up top.
Nice. Yeah, quite. So for mine, I'll go through mine quickly. This is again purely off of just prediction, and I was just trying to think who might get a rest, who might not. So I've gone Ortega in goal as well. I put Rico Lewis at right back instead of Kyle Walker. I've gone Stones and Diaz, but I can definitely see the point. I think Akanji's probably been your best centre back this season. Um, just in terms of consistency and just always being available and doing the job, in my opinion. But I think Stones obviously he didn't start, so he'll play. I think Diaz, I think he'll probably just start again. This could it could be a Kanji, but I've put Diaz in. Ake at left back. I've gone Grealish on the left, just because again I don't know if Pep will go all the way out and put the like somebody like Bob in as well as Rico Lewis. I mean, I think Bob's brilliant, by the way. I do really rate him. I think he's class, but I've put Grealish on the left. I've got Nunes and Rodri in the middle. Kovacic could easily be him, but again, pretty much what you said. I think Nunes. The only reason I've put him in is because I think at some point you got to give him some minutes. I think he's he's a decent player, and I think he deserves some minutes. Then I put Doku on the right. I think he's going to be pivotal in this game. I thought he was brilliant when he come on against Madrid as well. Really direct. I think he changed the game. Then I've gone Alvarez in the 10 and Haaland up front. So that would almost sort of make out possession. It would make that sort of 4-4-2.
Yeah, but you can't not play Kevin De Bruyne and Foden. You got to play one of them.
I know.
So my strategy is to play Kevin De Bruyne 70 minutes or 60 minutes and then bring Foden off the bench because Foden played 120.
Yeah.
And Kev got subbed off. Well, he played 110. It's not much difference. But I would probably play Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not asking which one starts, to be honest with you. Start one of them, give him an hour, take them off, put the other one on. That's what I would do.
That makes sense. Does make sense. I've got written down here because with the whole Foden and like De Bruyne thing, De Bruyne and Haaland asking to come off. So that's sort of why I didn't put De Bruyne in because again we don't know if there was a reason for that. If it was just tired.
I think Kevin De Bruyne was probably just fucking knackered, mate. You know what I mean? He'd been running around for 120 minutes. he has looked a little tired at times since he's come back from this recent injury. So I just think he was just absolutely gassed. Haaland, I don't know. I think maybe he might have got a little bit of a knock towards the end of the game. So he might not be ready. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Listen, whatever team we put out there, it's capable of getting a win. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And
You got a deep squad.
yeah, it's just it's gonna be interesting. You know what I mean? You play 120 minutes against Real Madrid and lose. How does that affect the team sort of mentality? It can do. So we just gotta do our thing and just try and find a way. I'm not looking for like a mad performance in this game. I just want to win, regardless of how we play. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to more or less like, can the players that you've got on the pitch, like some of them are still going to be absolute, even the ones that are coming in for the ones that are getting rested, they're still ridiculously good footballers. They're still top level footballers. So no matter what team you put out, it's going to be, they're still favourites to go and beat us, to beat Chelsea. So definitely, I think it's going to come down to, can they produce the moments of quality? And the thing for Chelsea will just be to just intensity and just raise that intensity at all times. Like, you've almost got to go into this game with the aspect of, see, they've just played 120 minutes. You've just got to take the game to them. You've got to be willing to just make it a dogfight and just go end to end and try and. That's why I think going with that midfield three and having Gallagher and Casado in there, almost just giving, like, somebody like Gallagher, I think this could be a massive game for him, just because. And I don't always speak enough about Gallagher because I don't actually think, if you're talking about our best possible team, I don't think he always gets in it. I think he's situational game to game. But I think in a game like this, where you've just come off the back of 120 minutes against Madrid, and there will be some tired legs, I think putting somebody in like him, I think that is the sort of thing that could swing a game in our favour. Because again, we're not going to outplay. Like, realistically, how young we are as a side and the discrepancy at the mid between the two sides, we're not going to outplay you. So I think it has to come down to the point of, where can we find a tiny bit of an edge? And maybe I think Gallagher could be one of the pivotal ones, him and Casado, to sort of give us that in terms of legs in the midfield and energy. But the last thing I wanted to touch on, because now that we spoke about it and we've both agreed Doku on the right, because this is the one thing that I have highlighted and I'm quite worried about it, is Doku versus Cucurella. And I think, especially if I've got Silva in the team behind, so he'd be the cover centre back behind him, I think Doku could get a lot of joy out there against Cucurella 1v1. I think Cucurella's very aggressive, so he'll probably look to get onto Doku and not even let him turn. But if Doku can get on the ball face up with Cucurella, I think it's night and day. I think Doku's going to absolutely tear him to shreds, realistically. And I think he could be, again, I think he was brilliant when he came on against Real Madrid. I think he could be where this game is won for Man City. How do you think that matchup could go?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good battle. I think that, is it going to happen? I don't know. Doku's only played 9 times on the right wing this season, and 2 of those times were for Stade Rennes. So he's only played 7 times for City on the right wing this year. It's not a lot. So the chances of him starting right wing are probably pretty slim anyway. But if he does start there, which I'd probably start him there, then yeah, we could get joy, and I think we should start him there because he can just put, we're having problems creating chances for our forward players. If you put him on the right hand side, it's simple. You know what I mean? That's why I always think Sterling. And Sterling's not playing well, stick him on the right because you can just take a player on and put a cross in. Whereas you play him on the left when you're out. This is the same with Doku. When you play players like that on the left and they're out of form, not only do you have to take the man on, they if they don't cut in, which is very telegraphed, you know what I mean? It's easy for defenders to sort of do that. They have to go to the byline and cross it in with their weak foot. So you're making it even harder for them. So when players are out of form like that, I always prefer to play them on the right hand side. Not that Doku is out of form; he's playing well actually quite recently, but I just think for the benefit of the team, stick him out on that right hand side. But if I'm being honest, I have no idea, man. I have no idea what Pep's going to do with this team. Like, I've done my team, I've given you my team, but don't be surprised if I've got. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do, man. Because I don't know anything about how the players are feeling. I don't know if Kevin De Bruyne's fit. I don't know if Haaland's fit. I don't know how Kevin De Bruyne is. I don't know what Kyle Walker's going to be risked. Is John Stones going to be? I literally have no idea, man. So there's about half the team that we don't even know who's going to be playing. So I don't know. But yeah, Doku does play against Cucurella. I'm hoping that we can get some joy, certainly.
Yeah, I think, like you said as well, with the whole, because out of form and maybe not, I wouldn't say maybe Doku's too out of form, but I think you're almost simplifying his actions by playing him on that right hand side. Like you said, he is essentially going to be collecting the ball, and every time he gets it, he is 1v1 against Cucurella. Can he get to the byline? Can he put it in the box? And especially if Haaland's playing, you've got somebody to pick out, whether it's driven across the box into his feet, whether it's floated in the air, and then you've got other players surrounding him. So yeah, I think you're just simplifying his job and making it what he's basically brilliant at, which is going 1v1. He's a 1v1 specialist in that sense. He loves to just drive his defender, and that's why I think he changed the game against Madrid. He came on and he was just direct, and the goal came from it for you. So yeah, I think that's definitely where you can get some joy. So we're going to end it off with, what do you think will actually happen? What do you think the result will be? Do you think you'll win? Do you think you'll falter?
I'm gonna back us. I'm gonna go for 2-0. Not often that I'll back a clean sheet, man, but I think we'll slow the game down. We'll try and dominate the ball. I don't expect it to be an exciting game personally, because I don't think City can afford to let it be an exciting game, because we'll probably gas out before you guys do. So yeah, a bit of a boring match. 2-0. I'll take that.
Yep. So thank you for joining me today, LB. Where can people find you, and what have you got coming up on your channel?
Yeah, so my channel's It's LB, and second channel's More LB, for like the non-City content mainly. Not much really. I've got a watch along tomorrow. I'm going to do a watch along for it. There won't be necessarily a preview tonight, I don't think, because yeah, I'm going out tonight. But yeah, man, listen, I'm just excited for the game. There's not that many games left now to the end of the season. We can still have a mega season. We win these next two trophies, FA Cup and Prem. It's a double with the two that we've already won. I mean, that's incredible. So yeah, let's see what happens, man. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate you asking me to come on.
No worries, mate. I'll leave all of your details in the description down below. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the game as well. So let's see what happens. So now I'm just going to go over my team in a little bit more detail. This was the team that I said on screen earlier. The only thing that I would maybe change now, recording this a few hours later, is the news is that Haaland apparently had picked up a knock the other day, so he might not start. If that's the case, I'd be more tempted to put Chalobah back in ahead of Disasi, because the main reason I wanted Disasi in the team was to physically deal with Erling Haaland. However, the midfield three is the main thing that I wanted to speak about today, and the main thing that I think will affect this game. I want Enzo back in the team. I think he needs to be back in the team. I think in a game like this, you need to make the opposition work, and Enzo is our best player on the ball, and he's the most relaxed and in terms of being able to control the tempo of a game. So I think he's so important at the base of that midfield. And then to put Gallagher and Caicedo around him to then go up and down box to box, they can be the legs in there and really test that Manchester City fatigue, if there is any, which there will be after that Real Madrid game. And Enzo can pull the strings from behind them. And then you've also got a compact three in the middle to win the ball back, out of possession, counter-press, and just really make it hard for Manchester City to progress through central lines. I think me and LB spoke enough about Cole Palmer, waxed lyrical about him, so I think he's going to be pivotal again with Gusto and that little right-hand side link-up, trying to be Ake and trying to get a little bit out of that right-hand side of the pitch, that left-hand channel for Manchester City. I would personally start Mudryk, and Sterling can come from the bench. Yes, Sterling has had some good performances. I think Mudryk will offer slightly more, especially if he's up against Rico Lewis, not Kyle Walker. And then Nicholas Jackson to lead the line. He is the only option, but I also just really like him. I think he's brilliant. And I think he will do a good job at being able to drop in, link up play, and then also stretch the pitch and get in behind. So Jackson as well, he'll be important, and he will lead the line. Now on screen, we have my team matched up with the team that we spoke about with LB. So here it is with Lewis, Stones, Akanji, Ake, Kovacic, Rodri, Doku, De Bruyne, Bob, and Haaland. Like I said earlier, since recording, Haaland has apparently had a knock, or that's why he came off the other day against Madrid. If that's the case and he doesn't start, and Alvarez starts up front, for example, that's why I said about Chalobah maybe instead of Disasi, and keeping that backline the same as it was against Everton in that clean sheet. So that's also an option. But yeah, I think, again, we touched on quite a lot of what I wanted to talk about with this team. I think it's going to be extremely interesting to see who is rested, if Rodri plays, because he's so important to the team, if Diaz is rested, if Haaland plays, now that we know about the knock, if De Bruyne, Foden, there's so many, Grealish, there's so many players, Walker, that could play or could be rested that will affect this game. Lewis instead of Walker, as good a player Lewis is, he's a bit more defensively frail than Walker, who's a really good 1v1 defender. And then on the other hand, you've got a Grealish who's more controlled and measured than an Oscar Bob, who's a little bit more inexperienced. But Bob is also a very flary, very good footballer. He's quick, he's good at dribbling, he's got a good strike of the ball. So he's dangerous as well. So it's not like I'm comparing them saying Grealish is way more dangerous. But my point would be that Bob, at least, he's different in the sense of he's not going to be as measured on the ball, and you might be able to pick up on that inexperience at times in the game. So please do let me know your score predictions down below. Go and show some love over on LB's channel. I'll put his link in the description for you to go over there. He's a Manchester City content creator and fan, and I'm very grateful for him coming on the channel. We're going to be hopefully getting a few more faces on the channel, different fans and different opinions to go with mine, and then we can just sort of have little podcasty episodes where I talk to them about certain teams, their team, or fixtures, certain games. So, as I said, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for LB. Please do go and check out my Xavi manager breakdown if you haven't already. Go leave a like on that. Let me know which manager breakdown you want to see next. And like I said earlier, leave your score predictions in the comments down below.